Hey, I'm here with Buck Surdu. He's one of the members of the Hawks and one of the lead organizers of the convention here at Barrage. So thanks a lot for taking a moment to talk to us,
Well,
Buck.
I appreciate you guys coming. This is great.
Well, for most of us here from Little Wars, this is actually our first time coming to Barrage. So how long has Barrage been going on, and what kind of growth have you seen over the years? Because there's a great turnout here today.
Yeah, so Barrage, the first Barrage was probably 25 years ago.
Wow.
We did it as a club. We were, we're based in Hartford County, so we decided, we signed out the rec center on Aberdeen Proving Ground.
Okay.
And we thought the big draw at that time would be the Tank Museum.
Sure, Aberdeen, yeah.
And so we ran it that day, and but the second year, they wouldn't let us use that site because it turns out since we weren't an official on-post organization, we got involved in bureaucratic things. So we hopped around for a number of years, and the first one started with 40 people,
Sure.
that kind of thing, and no vendors, and it was just maybe a couple of flea market tables, and then when we moved to this site, we were here for about 2 years, and I sort of cajoled the club, and I said, hey, let's see if we can do this as a two-day event. And the first year, when I convinced the club, I said, I think going from 1 day to 2 days, we may lose money for the first couple of years because we're doubling our expenses, but I don't know we're going to double our income. But we made a little bit of money the first year, and our attendance has been growing. My goal is to grow the con, so we think we're at about 140 people for the weekend now.
Okay.
My goal is to grow the con about 20 people a year over the next couple of years to get to about somewhere between 160 and 180, and that's, I think, the sweet spot for us, right? At that point, more than that, we'll outgrow the venue. It won't be sort of the laid-back kind of informal event that it is. So that's our goal, is to get to about 180. I think we'll get there in a couple of years.
So one of the challenges that we're trying to grapple with Little Wars TV, and that maybe you guys have a jump on, having done Barrage all these years, is how do you find new people? What are the ways to outreach to the wider community? Because we feel like a lot of people, when they first hear about miniature wargaming, think that, no, that's interesting, but they've never heard of it before. So how do we get those people?
Yeah, so we've done a number of things over the years. So the club actually began when a former member, he's moved away now, but he was trying to look for gamers. So what he did was he ran a class at the local community college. And a lot of the folks who are now in the Hawks found each other by seeing the name in the catalog and signing up for the class. Now, none of those people needed to learn about miniature gaming. They were just hoping to find other opponents, right?
Right.
So I've run the class at the community college now again recently, and we picked up a couple of folks. We also go support a lot of the other local conventions. So 2 of our active members were guys we picked up at the community college by supporting their game day. Okay. Now, I didn't really do a lot of miniatures. Chris Palmer and I went, we ran a small Gaslight Civil War game, and we picked up Greg and a couple other guys. So the other thing we did, it turned out to not be successful, but we for about 3 years in a row, I think, we got permission during Defenders Day at Fort McHenry. We set up a demonstration game in the room right next to the flag.
I would have thought that would have been successful. It sounds like a great idea, because there's all sorts of people parading through.
So a lot of people came through, and we set it up the way you ought to, right? Where we had promotional material to give people, and here's the Hawks.
Great looking table, I'm sure.
We did, and we had 3 or 4 people there to engage people, and if they were interested, we let them play a couple of turns, right? And so it was successful in that people sort of walked away from that with kind of a positive impression, but it wasn't successful in terms of recruiting people.
Okay.
We've had a number of articles in the local newspapers that have brought people in.
Yes.
And really our group's been growing. We've picked up 6 or 7 people probably in the last year and a half.
So what are you guys up to now? I mean, as a club, how many members do you think that you have with the Hawks?
So our membership is in the 30 range.
30s? Okay.
We game on the 1st and 3rd Fridays of the month. And we used to game every other week, and that was actually a problem for recruiting because people didn't know when that was, right? What cycle we were on.
Right.
So now we do the 1st and 3rd Fridays. That works really well. And we game at a local church. They give us their facility for the night. Churches are good places to set up clubs because it's in their best interest to have the building occupied every night,
right?
Because it cuts down on crime and vandalism and that kind of thing. So, so we're up to about 30. Of which there's probably 15 who are active game masters.
Okay.
So that's the thing that people think that the Hawks are a lot bigger than they are, because there was a time when the 12 or so of us who were the active game masters were running 10% of the games at Historicon.
Well, you guys always have an incredible presence at the HMGS Convention.
And there's no, people ask us, well, how do I build a Hawks? Well, there's not really any magic. It's kind of luck in that everybody in the club wants to paint and are game masters, right? So
that helps.
I've been in clubs, I've helped plant clubs all over the country. I've been in clubs where 2 or 3 guys or 1 guy's carrying the whole club. Bill Molyneux, when he was in Gettysburg, he was sort of carrying that whole club.
That's tough.
And you get tired of it after a while, right? And every once in a while you like the game. Even guys like us in the Hawks who are notoriously bad at rolling dice, every once in a while we like the game too.
It feels good.
And so what's nice is I don't feel like every week I have to run a game, right? And so, and now we've sort of fallen into, let's say, a dozen sets of rules that we generally play, but we're willing to try other things. You'll come in and we usually have enough people on a game night where we run 2 games, so 2 6 to 8 player games.
Nice.
Every once in a while there'll be a surge where a couple of us have like a game in a box, so we'll bring that along just in case.
Spillover game, extra.
Yeah, so you asked what we're up to. We're up to about 30. We've been doing the Armies for Kids project for about 6 years now.
I have heard about this project. That sounds like a great idea, especially to get younger gamers, which is always a challenge.
In some sense, it's preaching to the converted.
Okay.
Because we're running it at Historicon, and it's kids of guys who are already gamers.
Right.
But the hope is that by giving them first having fun, right, and then we give them 2 armies to take home with them.
Right.
That they'll go play it with their buddies. And so that now is evangelizing, right? Sort of indirectly, right? They've got a whole army. They don't have to worry about their dad saying, no, don't bend my fingers or don't break my bayonet.
How many years have you guys been doing that program?
So I think it's about 6 years, I think.
How many armies do you think you've given away in 6 years?
So
you do two a
per
convention?
kid. No, 2 per kid.
Okay.
And 6 kids in a game.
So
a lot.
So it's a lot.
We do 1 a year. It takes us about 4 weekends to paint all the figures that we give away.
So all the guys in the club are sort of volunteering to paint figures?
Yeah, I wouldn't say all, but many.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and so we get together about 4 weekends. We'll start probably in November, and we'll have probably a February and an April and maybe a June day, where we have a weekend where we get together. Somebody usually takes the lead on the project, and so this year it's going to be medievals.
Okay.
So most of it's been donated. Sometimes, like John Spees and other folks have actually donated painted figures, right? So that helps a little bit.
Yeah.
And 1 year, a bunch of the guys from Nashville offered to paint a bunch of figures for us, so we handed them a bunch of Napoleonics, and they came back with that. I think they showed up at Historicon, actually. That was high stress, right? Because we're giving them away tomorrow
at the deadline.
But so we've gotten a lot of help over the years, and some of the kids we gave armies to when they were this little are now this big, right? And they're still showing up at conventions.
Well, so that's how it might have worked.
But again, we don't have a way to measure, but we're hoping that kids are taking those home and they're playing with their buddies. We haven't seen any of those armies show up on eBay, so we think people are still keeping them. So we try to do that kind of stuff. We've done games in schools from time to time. Schools aren't necessarily a good place to do this. You don't get a lot of time, and they're busy trying to teach other things, and of course now weapons are bad. So anyway, so it's not necessarily, that's not high ground. 1 year we tried to do, we weren't able to pull it off, but we tried to get a table in a mall.
Okay.
Because we figured that's where kids are, right? And what we were going to do is run games all weekend and let people
just walk by and see.
Same idea, participation game, or a demonstration game, but if you want to participate, we'll give you a couple of turns. Because that's kind of the Games Workshop model, right? They come in and the guy just tells you roll 6 dice. Oh, look, you won. You don't even know what you're doing, right? And who knows, he might be making that stuff up. But the kids get to do the good stuff, right? They get to, I'm going to shoot that guy, But in terms of Barrage, like I said, our goal is to bring people together in sort of a low stress, low-key kind of an event. And one of our taglines is gaming the way it ought to be, right? So there's not a lot of politics going on in there. Let's just have fun playing games.
It's been a great atmosphere the whole time we've been here, and people are having fun, and some of the tables are just gorgeous. So it's an incredible event you guys put on, and I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us on camera here. And
well, I appreciate you guys coming. It was good to see you guys, and thanks for running the games you did.
Of course, and I'm sure we'll see you at Fall In.
Yeah, good. All right, we'll see you.
Thanks a lot, Bob.
Yeah.